So Jasmine Brand here. I have executive producer Phil Thornton. How are we doing?
Hey, thank you, Jasmine.
I'm glad to meet you. I've emailed you a few times, and you called me out a few times on some.
Have I called you out? Oh no.
You politely told me I had some misinformation.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
I just like to have information accurate. So it's a pleasure to finally meet you.
Yeah. So I think you're probably the second executive producer that I talked to. So I like to speak to people that are behind the scenes and sort of make the magic happen. So I'm excited to talk to you today. So first, let's just start off with, who are you? Who is Phil?
Who is Phil? Phil Thornton is a Norfolk, Virginia native. Graduated from Norfolk State University. I started out as an intern at a local radio station. Then to my second internship at Arista Records in '95, and went on to do artist management for a variety of artists, which later segued into my foray into television. My first TV show was I Married a Baller with Taj and George. I used to manage SWV when they reunited, so that's how connection started.
Okay, so you started off in music, and that how did you start off in music? How or why did you start off in music?
I've always had a passion for music, so I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew it was something in music. Like ever since I was a child, like I said, man, I want to do something. My first record, record player, when Prince was my first record, Let's Go Crazy, and I was like, man, I just fascinated with music. At one point, took piano lessons, was always just intrigued by just music, and then I was fascinated by the music business as I got a little older. And then my first internship was in 12 at a radio station, and then from there I got to see the inner workings of how things operate in various departments, and still obviously heavily music involved. But I always knew music would be something that I wanted to do. I just didn't know what.
Okay, and why the transition is to television?
I love television. The thing is, for me, I love music and television, so I'm like equal, So that's why I'm always trying to find opportunities to bridge the gap and bring those two worlds together. So a lot of my projects have been music inspired or have a music backdrop, such as R&B.
Okay, so did you intentionally start off in music, saying that you wanted to get into TV, or it kind of happened? Or I want to know how it happened.
How it happened, again, I've always been fascinated with television. And a buddy of mine, Datari Turner, you know Datari? Mm-hmm. Datari created a show called The Ultimate Hustler on BET. And Datari, transitioned from the modeling world. And I was like, wow, I was admiring some of the moves he made. I was like, man, I want to do that. And so literally I just started studying and reading books and talking to Datari on a frequent basis. He's like, man, we should do something together. And I'm like, well, I don't know anything about producing. Like, I know the music industry and I have relationships, but I don't know anything about television or film production. So he said, I got this idea. We should do a show about an athlete and their spouse. And I was like, okay, that's different. This is back in 2005. Mm-hmm. And the show, he said, well, let's just call it I Married a Baller, hence, an athlete. And we originally had Tamia and Grant Hill. Mm. And things didn't work out. Okay. And so, again, I was working on SWV at the time. And I was like, well, Taj is married to Eddie George. And let me see if she want to do it. And that was my first step into production, was literally hands-on producing, didn't know what I was doing. And I was a producer and a music supervisor on I Married a Baller. And I was just day by day, and again, with Datari and Shannon, who's another one of the producers, we just hit the ground running.
Okay, so kind of happened by chance, but you kind of, okay. So sidebar, you've heard by now that SWV is going to do a reality show.
Yeah, I saw them in New Orleans, my girls, man.
How do you feel about that?
I'm excited for them. That's actually with E1, the company I'm an executive at, so I'm happy for Tara and the ladies, but I just saw SWV in New Orleans. It's going to be a great show. 3 very different but unique personalities, and Taj lives around the corner from me. So
okay.
We see each other often, and Coco and Levy, we're all good friends.
Okay, moving on. So the first time I discovered you was you were having a Twitter fight or Twitter disagreement with one of the cast members of R&B Divas. Okay. It was a Twitter disagreement, and we'll get back to that. But that's when I realized, I was like, oh, who is this guy? And I was like, oh, he's a producer. Oh, he's an executive producer. So that's when the world may have known about you already, but that's when I discovered who you are. But can you kind of explain what you do, for example, like what an executive producer is and what you do with or for R&B divas?
An executive producer, I'll take the first one. The executive producer is someone who oversees all aspects of the production, making sure that we're delivering the show that was pitched and sold to the network. So we make sure we're, staying up. We actually lay out the creative for the series. We deliver it within budget, on time. We're basically the liaison between, as far as from a production sense, from the network and the talent. So, during the production phase of things. So we basically, like an executive producer without him, kind of oversees the entire, project.
Okay, so I need to break it down a little bit more.
Okay.
So does that mean you help with casting the show? Does that mean
casting? I help with casting both. The in LA totally.
Okay.
And the Atlanta I added on this season's edition. So. But,
So you contribute to the casting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you help with the storylines, or what
we do all. We create the storyline, all the creative, all of the hiring of the crew, anything that you can think of that you see those people create. Like we're the executive producers, we oversee every aspect. Like the network is looking to us for answers every day, updates, reports. We're collaborating with their team to come up with the creative, for the season. We wear many hats.
Okay. Why do you think you're good at what you do?
Why do I think I'm good? It's a blessing. I love what I do. I don't see it as a job.
Okay.
I really don't. I wake up and wow, I'm excited. What's up for today? It's just really what else can we develop, or what else can we produce to, just take things. But I love what I do. I love my job.
So how did you get started, or how did you get involved with R&B Divas Atlanta?
I got a phone call from a good friend who I used to manage, Faith Evans.
Okay.
And we've been friends for well over 10 years. And she called me about this concept that her and one of her friends, Nikki Gilbert, had developed. And another production partner who they were pitching the show to, things didn't work out. So they called me hey man, this is an idea. I know you do TV. Could you maybe help? Decide. I think it's a good idea, but this is more of your world. You know the space. So from that point, I love the concept. First of all, I called my partner, Paul Koyal, who's also executive producer for the series. He's my partner in 10-1, and I told him about it. We went through the creative with Faith and Nikki, and at that point, he was like, "Well, we should maybe partner with Think Factory Media." And at the time, Think Factory had just done the Sinbad show, James Simmons, Family Jewels, and he had done some other business with them outside of our company. So I thought it would be a great fit. So we partnered with Think Factory Media, pitched the show wide, and I thought it would be great to take to TV One. I've been telling TV One for years that they should get a female ensemble show. I was like, it's a no-brainer, and this show was the perfect fit. So that was my involvement. Once they called me, basically putting all the pieces together to make it a reality.
Okay, so they had already had the concept, and you helped get it on the network?
Helped everything down to the sizzle, the sizzle that was originally shot. Paul and I actually helped come up with the questions for Nikki and Faith to ask each lady. So we put together the sizzle. We edited the sizzle with Think Factory, one sizzle presentation that we presented to all the network. So,
okay, gotcha. So season 1, what did you think? What was your experience? Were you executive producer season 1?
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you think of season 1 after it was finished?
You know what? I was proud. I was proud of season 1. It was great because I was on the ground. I was there every single day. It was fun. It was just good to see it actually what was just an idea become a reality, and then to see people really, really receive it. And I just thought it was really refreshing for R&B music to have such a cool platform. So for me, it was a blessing. I was excited.
Season 1 to me didn't seem to have that much drama, but it was very popular in the ratings department. Why do you think that it was?
I think people were looking for something fresh. Some of the other shows thrive on the drama, as we've seen. And I think Divas was a bit of fresh air. People wanted to see the sisterhood. They wanted to see people that really had a genuine friendship and knew each other before the show. And then the talent. The talent, no other show, but these ladies can sing. We've heard them. We've follow them over the years, incredible. So I think those things really attracted the viewer. It was just a breath of fresh air.
Okay. Season 2, completely different.
Would you say it's completely
I
different?
would.
Okay.
But to me,
okay.
I'm not in it. I'm a regular viewer. To me, it was maybe it wasn't completely different. The volume was turned up on drama to me as a viewer, but it was very entertaining to me. So I'm not saying that as a negative. I was highly entertained.
What I will say with this show, we tried to minimize, as some other shows where they really thrive on it being scripted, when we really try to let it be as natural and as organic as it can be. So we sometimes just turn the cameras on and let life unfold.
Okay. Why'd you bring 2 new cast members?
I really wanted to, because there's so many great R&B ladies in this business that I feel like that really deserve a true platform to really show what's going on now. And again, I'm fans of all these women. So
right.
I'm like, I grew up listening to them, I bought their music. So I just wanted to just add some new pieces to the Atlanta season. And Angie, who's, really become a really good friend of mine, I really wanted her to kind of come in as a matriarch, big sister, if you say, because I felt like that was something that was missing first season. You know what I mean? Just like I didn't have that matriarch, that person that was like the kind of help keep the glue and keep things together. So things got off track. So when they hopefully bring it back on track. And Latasha, I just I've always loved Escape, and I just thought she'd be a great addition.
Okay, so let me ask you about some of the cast members individually. You explained why you brought Latasha on, and
Latasha knew all the ladies as well, so it wasn't like a new, and so did Angie.
Okay, why was Faith MIA so much?
Faith had a lot of personal and professional commitments that really, our scheduling, obviously, in a perfect world, we could have captured, everything, but again, her personal and professional commitments really didn't quite line up with our production schedule, but she made herself available when she could, and we're grateful. That's her girl, so we really worked around it, but once she had tears of joy out, she was on the road, going days, and she's got 4 kids.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
A lot of people don't know.
They know about 1 or 2. They don't know.
She has 4 kids, and she has a 6-year-old. So that alone, requires a lot of attention. So again, she was back and forth bi-coastal, but again, her personal commitments to her family, which is always first, and professional would happen to hit single, which was top 5 from the R&B Divas compilation.
Right.
So that was really cool. But no, it was just a lot going on for her, but a lot of great things. So. She's got, football rehearsal, this and that, a football practice, or basketball, and baseball. Her kids are every sport you can imagine. So I didn't have, having a 6-year-old, you know what that could be.
Well, no, but I can imagine.
So yeah, that was why you didn't see Faith as much, but she was definitely very supportive in any way we needed. Was there, again, even when I didn't think she would be able to make it happen, she always made a way and made it happen. So I'm grateful to her.
Okay. Because she's in LA. She's based in LA, right?
She's LA based, but she had a lot of business that she was doing in Atlanta, recording and other meetings, and she's also developing other television projects as well. And so she was definitely doing a lot of business kind of on both coasts, but her residence is still LA.